Hello, this is going to be a short tutorial on how to use all the tools in Google Slides presentation mode. Before I show you how to use the presentation mode and all the tools, I'm going to show you how to do speaker notes before we launch it because we're going to use that in our lesson today. You'll notice at the bottom of each slide that there's an area where I can type notes. This is a great tool to use in a presentation because you can have information that goes beyond the scope of what is on the slide, or even cues or prompts for you to say something so you don't forget when you're teaching a lesson or if you're a student doing a presentation. Note that the audience will not see these notes and that you'll have them on another screen when you're presenting. Now, to start your presentation from any specific slide in the timeline, simply click on the slide you want to start the presentation on and go to the top right and hit present. This will immediately launch into presentation mode and it'll bring your slide up that you selected. To leave this slide or leave the presentation, all you have to do is hit the escape key or bring your mouse down to the bottom left corner and hit exit. To start from the beginning of the presentation without having to go to click on slide 1, you can simply go to the top right corner and hit the down arrow next to present and say present from beginning, and you're going to start your presentation in the very beginning. Now, if you bring your mouse down to the bottom left corner, you have a toolbar that can control your presentation. Note that the left arrow and right arrow, if you left click on them, you're going to go forward or backward through your animations or slides. So if I hit the right arrow, I'm going to go forward in the slide timeline and so forth. And if I hit the back arrow, I'm going to go backwards through the animations and the slides on my timeline. Now, if I want to jump to a specific slide on the timeline, I can simply come here and click on slide numbers and choose a slide I want to jump to right away so I can bypass multiple slides at once. Now, the play button I have some issues with. The play button basically auto advances through each slide in your timeline. Now, the problem that I have with the play button is I have not found a way to control it from going longer or slower with the auto advance. So if I hit play right now, it's going to take 3 seconds and go through each slide really quickly. Now, I feel like 3 seconds is pretty fast and a little difficult for you to cover what you want to show an audience. So I'm going to go back to slide 1 and show you a workaround that I found with that play button. Another issue I have is if you have animations where you have to click on them, this will not work until you click on the screen. And the same thing with the workaround that I'm going to show you. It won't auto advance if you have to do it with a click, which makes sense, and I can show you how to fix that. So now I'm going to hit exit and show you the workaround. To make this auto advance, all you have to do is go to File and go to Publish to the Web. And then right here where it says Auto Advance Slides, you can set your time for how long it takes to auto advance. So if I go to 10 seconds, and I can even say start the slide as soon as the player loads, I select the link, right click and copy, and I open a new tab and right click, paste and go. And you'll see right now the slideshow is going to start. I'm going to make it full screen with that button right here. And in a few seconds, it's going to auto progress through the slideshow without me having to click. So this is the workaround that I've found. I'm going to hit the escape key and leave this slideshow to getting your slideshow to progress automatically and setting the time for how long it takes. So going back into presenter mode, I'm going to hit present and I'm going to go across the other tools now. If you go to Q&A and notes, it's going to launch a toolbar for you, and I'll go ahead and hit Q&A. And note that this screen appears, and I'm going to move this to the left and move this to the right so you can see both screens. Please note that you're going to have to extend your screen to the projector or TV so people do not see this. If you're cloning your screen, they're going to see this and your notes at the same time, and that won't make a whole lot of sense. So presenter questions are awesome. This adds a layer of interactivity to your presentation. It also adds a layer for your students to communicate, especially students who are nervous and want to ask you questions but feel fearful of raising their hand or talking out loud. So let's cover this tool because it's really awesome. So how I launched it was as the presenter, I clicked Q&A on my toolbar and it brought up this menu. Now all I have to do is say Start New to launch my Q&A. Now if this is the same presentation you used before, you can even continue with your previous questions that students have asked. But I'm going to start new. Let's pretend this is another period of students I'm working with. And now immediately the students get a link at the top of the screen to type in the browser to take them to a Q&A session for your presentation. So all they have to do is type that link in, and I'm going to go ahead and open it in a new tab, and I'm going to bring it over to the right, and I'm going to right click, paste, and hit enter, and you're going to see the Q&A screen pull up for me. So here is the presenter view that the teacher or the student is using, and the student or the audience has gone to this link in the browser, and they can come to the question Q&A page and say, I need help with blank. And then they can ask anonymously, which I think is a very powerful feature. That'll take the fear factor away from a kid asking a question in the classroom, and say submit. And immediately the timeline will show the question, anonymous, and all the students will just see anonymous. And they can even vote or downvote something to say they think that's the answer or they don't think that's the answer. Many ways to use this. So if you're having students answer a question, you want to see what they know. Students can pose a question and others can vote on it. Lots of ways to use this. In this scenario, it's the student needs help, so it's not a downvote or upvote situation. Now, looking at your presenter tool on your computer screen, you're going to see that question. You can address that question, and you can even hit present to bring it up on the screen for everyone in the room to see if it's something you want everyone to see. This could be very helpful in a language arts class when you have students who are going to write the ending to a paragraph or the intro to a paragraph, and you want to see what other students have typed and put that up on the screen. So that adds another layer of interactivity with your presentation tools. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit hide and go back to the presentation. Let's just say the velociraptors get out of hand and they start typing things that are not right and you want to stop it. You can simply go right here to the top right of your audience toolbar and hit off by clicking on it. And if you see what happens here on the Q&A session, I'm going to try to type something in and hit submit, and it should say, nope, sorry, this Q&A is closed. So the students can no longer type. You've moderated and controlled the situation, and at any time you can relaunch the Q&A session by turning it on, and then you can bring that session back up. Now, if the student doesn't see it right away, they can hit the refresh button, and that Q&A is going to come back up and they can ask questions. So that's basically Q&A, and I think that's a real powerful tool. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. To see your speaker notes, all you have to do is click Speaker Notes, and you will see the notes for each slide in your presentation. Now what's nice is you can also control what slide you're on by coming over here and clicking on the slide you want to go to, and all the notes that you had for each slide will appear on the right in this area right here. If it's too small, you can hit this plus sign and enlarge it so you can easily read it, and that way you're not having to look at very small text while you're presenting. The counter down here at the bottom left is basically for you to kind of track how long your presentation is taking, and gives you information on the timeline it takes to do the presentation. I'm going to hit X here and close out the presenter notes and leave it and come back to this screen. Please note that you can hit notes and Q&A and still go toggle between the two. One of the last tools you can use on the menu is the pointer. So if I left click the pointer, I can bring my pointer and show the audience something I want to show them, and I can come back to the toolbar and left click on the pointer and get rid of it. If I want to make my presentation full screen, I can click right here. If I want to minimize it but not close it, I can click this and it minimizes it so I can see the other things on my screen, and so forth. And that's just an easy tool to use. And then the last thing is settings. This basically kind of does some of the things you can do with other file tabs or tools in the bottom toolbar. If you go open speaker notes, you'll notice if I click it, it opens speaker notes, and that is no different than if I hit notes here and open speaker notes. So just another way to launch something with Google Slides. Same thing with download as PDF and PowerPoint. I can do that by going to the File menu in Google Slides and doing that option. And then, of course, print a PDF or go report abuse of copyright infringement. And then hit Exit to close your presentation. And that concludes all the different ways you can use the tools with presenting, and then also some tips and tricks on how to auto-advance your slides with a set time amount. I hope this presentation was helpful, and thank you so much for watching.